our show. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's up?
Wonderful.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
This is Friday?
It's Friday, baby.
Is it? I thought it was Thursday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Sure? Oh, it's State Expo. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. You're right.
No, yeah.
Now that
I'm
we've
a little bit
established what
behind.
day it is,
A little behind.
we can move on.
So I'm just excited because this is the first time we're doing a podcast in the studio.
In Studio A.
Studio A.
We're in Studio A.
This is what this place was built for.
That's true.
Like we wanna make use of this place during the day, during the evenings. But I also always envisioned like us having like an HOM TV channel. So like this is the start of it.
You've been talking about that. Is this it?
This is it.
I don't know.
Did you finally get your way?
I got my way.
You snookered us
It
into.
might have to be for mature audiences only.
No,
No,
it
no,
doesn't. No, it's just, we're open. Remember our song?
We are open.
Welcome to our show.
I do.
Yeah.
So
That version, I do remember.
But I'm excited to get like this is behind the scenes House of Music. People don't get to see this, so like get to see us interact. You know, I'm usually busy. You're busy. And
He's
whether
busy
we're
right now.
teaching or
He's texting right now. See that? Did you see that camera?
Hey,
That's how it is at meetings with Ramzi.
Listen,
this is how it is.
I put my phone on silent. Is what
I don't even have my phone on me.
I don't even know. Can I put
Mine's
my
not even-
watch on
it's in the
silent?
other room.
'Cause I don't know how to do that.
So you're excited. Is this the start of your HOM TV kind of concept? Is what you were thinking about, like
Yeah.
podcasting, having guests and stuff? Obviously, not just us, because we'll get boring.
Yeah. So, but this time is better than ever because it's our 5-year.
5 years.
5
Well,
years since we moved into this place.
Yeah, 5 years in this place, 17 total. 17
17
years.
17 years.
Since
Man, how many
07.
businesses are around for 17 years?
Not many. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
But
lucky to have made it this far.
I mean, we've come a long way, but I don't think everybody knows how House of Music started. So, like, where did this idea come from?
From my basement, I actually lived right behind here in Silver Lakes, right behind the golf course. I used to get hit by golf balls from the golfers when I was pushing my kids around in their strollers. So I taught in the basement, and I got sick of that. My wife Kimmy said, "You got to get a place." And her uncle, a retired detective from Chicago detective, wrote a book. Really awesome guy, Dave O'Callahan. Got into business with him, and he gave me the first loan. So that literally is like out of the basement in Orland Park.
Out of the basement.
Yes,
we're
out of the
Literally
basement.
from a house.
And then that was to that house?
Yeah, so that was
Okay.
the first loan, and we paid him back successfully. He was a great guy he was a good business mentor, really good guy. Famous quote that he had us all at a round table in his house in Beverly. He lives in Beverly. It's huge, like cool, like old kind of Irish home, and it's piled with beer cans. We're all sitting there talking. All the original people were there. Darius was there. My sister-in-law was there. My brothers were there. And he comes out. He had enough to drink. He's done now. He's like, he wants everyone to leave, And we're getting the money. Everything's fine. He's like, I got the cash. And we're like, Uncle Dave, are you okay? He's like, yes, I'm okay. I'm like, all right, good. We're like, dude. So, yeah, from there into the house. And then I met Ramzi. He pulled up with his kids on a stroller.
Mm-hmm.
As I was screwing together a stage on his property. He didn't tell me he was affiliated with anything.
I remember hearing this story.
He just walked up all unassuming and just introduced himself and said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I told him what I was doing. He loved it. He came back with his kids later. We hung out that day.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't tell me till like way later. Or maybe the next time I saw you.
Was this like the car
that you
show?
were actually looking to...
No, this was the art fair.
Art fair.
So yeah, what it turned into then Arts and Drafts, which turned into Summerfest, which
So
we'll
Sugar
get to.
Rush played. Another quote for them,
Sugar
one of our
Rush.
awesome bands.
So it was
you-
an all-girl band, and I had one daughter in a stroller and one walking alongside.
Yeah, you only had 2 kids at the time.
And they were like enamored, by like these girls that were just rock, and they were really good,
Yeah.
So that was I wanted to know more about it.
Shout out to Sugar Rush. They're still together. One of them's going to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Therese.
they're like serious people. Yeah, all of them are doing really well.
Does she go around telling people how bad sugar is for them? And
I don't think
is that
so.
Like
I think she does. I think she does some kind of
research.
research. One of them's some kind of lawyer or something. I don't know. They're very successful. Yeah.
But no. So after that, my oldest daughter Violet was like really wanted to do that. Like, Dad, I want to do that.
Yes.
I'm like, cool. So started to bring her for lessons at the OG house
on 159th.
On 159th, and
we have the address sign in the back if you want to come see it. Booyah!
It was cool, and like then I sat like in there right through like the lesson, and I'm looking around, I'm seeing how the employees are interacting, what you got going on, and I'm like, man, what you guys do is what a lot of people don't do, and that's like really care about like the music theory and like the teaching aspect, right? Like teaching kids actual music. But all the other stuff I saw like a lost opportunity because like you weren't selling like instruments to like support that.
Our
and, like,
sales floor was pitiful then. It was bad.
And because I'm like, hey, where do I go to get, like, they're like, oh, go get a book here, go to Guitar Center, do all this stuff. And that's when we started talking more. I'm like, man, you've got like a bunch of students, you're really popular, and you got to capitalize on all the things that actually like have margins to make money.
And I kind of knew that. And at the time I was opening the Homer Glen store. So he knew me through the whole transition, and then came to Homer Glen, finally came there. He goes, I want to see your space. Cause I told him
when did Homer Glen open?
I forget what year. Yeah. I forget actually. He might know. It was only open for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like 2015, 2014.
I think.
That makes sense.
That makes about sense. Yeah, it makes some sense. And
then you guys known each other since like 2014?
Before then, because Homer Glen wasn't even an idea, and I already knew.
Wow!
So
we met in
2013, and I think you opened Homer Glen like 2014, 2015. So
yeah, it goes way back. So and then I was apprehensive of another business partner.
Almost the 10-year anniversary.
I know.
The 10-year anniversary of our friendship.
Crazy.
11 year? Wow. Okay.
And we were just talking about that before we started the show, that it's when you have access to people's time all the time, like we take each other's phone calls all the time, but not for everyone else, obviously, because you're too busy. But when you do that, you either drive someone insane and then you stop becoming friends really quick, or you give each other a hard time forever.
Yeah.
And bust each other's chops with jokes and personal things.
No, that's how I think you keep it healthy,
So as we were starting this, we were just busting each other's chops for like 10 minutes, and we're like, okay, time to be normal. And we wrote a song.
Oh yeah.
And we're in a band, but anyways, so yeah, it took a while before he even mentioned that he wanted to be in business. He didn't say that right away. That's what intrigued me, because I didn't really know anything about him. He was like that Dos Equis guy, and his dad, I call him the Harrison Ford of Orland Park. He is a Harrison Ford. So I was just like, okay, like these guys are really cool. I don't know what's up. And then he finally came to Homer Glen. You came with a bottle of Edwards Realty champagne. That's his other awesome job. And he came to the studio, and we hung out and just talked for it was at night. And then he goes, well, what if you did a big spot and like put it all in one location? I said, no, you're crazy. I'm like, I wouldn't do it again. I told him that. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go through I told him about my past business dealings with other people and fallouts. I was like, I just want to keep it to myself. And then I thought about it a while, and then we ended up doing it. I go 100%. Like, I trust him, and my whole theory of like 100% of $0 is still $0. So like the company was not really going anywhere. Wasn't going anywhere up. It was just stagnant.
Well, you needed some like resources, because not only were you running House of Music, I think you're an active musician gigging
more,
right? And then you're like, I think teaching? You started teaching.
Just started, yeah. So like that was just 7 years ago at Christian Hills School. So taking full time.
You're juggling a lot,
So I needed help, but I was untrustworthy because I got burned. And then he basically convinced me over time that it was a good idea. First time I came in here, it had to be like a bigger vision than what I could see, because I can only see so far, because I've taken it kind of as far as I could take it. Kind of, at that moment.
He like
at that moment in time, I couldn't see what he saw.
He kind of saw that ceiling. He like broke through it.
I actually came in here. This was a cleaners. Remember that
dry
story?
Cleaner with the
this is the best
here.
story ever. This guy literally was smoking a cigarette, and it was like I was dressed like in a suit with a name tag on. I walked in. Ramzi sent me here to go see it. He couldn't make it. He was busy. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go with her. Go over there. The guy smoking a cigarette with a magazine, opening it like a Chinese kung fu movie. I walk in. I'm like. And I just opened the door. It smelled like cigarettes and cleaning stuff. I just closed it and walked out. I called Ramzi. I'm like, this place is a dump.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
He goes, no, wait, stop. He's like, you got to envision everything's out of there. I'm like, you mean the rats?
Well, listen, it was
there's no rats.
It wasn't even like a dry cleaner that you drop your stuff off. Like they did the clean. They had the cleaning. The machines that are illegal now. You can't even. So
So it needed to be cleaned out.
Had everything cleaned out, made sure, everything was kosher with the state, with the disposal of any harmful, liquids and all that. But once we did demo it, we got the plan together, and it was really even weird because we talked about, I wanted to have all these things under one roof. And when we go to get a permit from the village, they couldn't figure out. They're like, is this a school? Is this a venue?
Yeah,
how do we even permit this?
They didn't know what to do with us or him, really.
Yeah, so we were able to get, through that process and then, and open up.
And our occupancy is a studio/venue.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got.
Yeah.
Well, what gets me the most is, so I've talked to teachers, done the one-on-ones, and I always ask, what sets House of Music apart from the other places you've taught at? Hands down, 100% of the time, every single teacher comes out of their mouth, this place feels like a home. This place feels like a family.
Oh, you're saying because you're their manager and you've been talking to them. That's like, okay. Gotcha.
So, but every teacher, and I hear it from the parents and I hear it from the kids, but the teachers say, we've got this structure of a curriculum, but it's kind of laissez-faire because each teacher presents it a different way, but they have the freedom to do so. I like that word,
laissez-faire.
So cool. Nice. I'll give that to Anthony. Anthony used that word specifically.
Bacardi.
And
also a bass player.
That's right.
But they all just feel welcome here, and they like how they walk in, and it doesn't feel like it's a corporate place. Yeah. But that all ties back to the one kid that started it, and I love this story. The drummer kid that you had.
Emo kid. So I was teaching at another store. I won't name names. And I loved it there. I did like it there. And I met a lot of people that I still talk to and respect. And the owner wasn't too fond of me, So we had whatever. I had to go take leave of absence. I had sent my dad to sub for me and had a baby. And then I was teaching a kid there for free. And it was a student that lost his mom or whatever. And I kind of grew close to the family. She was passed away. He couldn't afford lessons. He literally, and this was when I first started teaching, I was 25 years old, probably. Yeah, living in Orland, living at my parents' house, still in the basement. And he was coming to my house for free. They found out, and they didn't want me to work there anymore because of that. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, you're crazy. And then Sean Patrick Murphy, God rest his soul, Jerry McGuired it, called me. He was working the counter, called me and gave me all their numbers and said, I heard what happened. Here's all their numbers. Why don't you call them and see if they'll come to your house? Like an old Jerry Maguire story. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm like, I got a baby on the way. I just bought a house. I'm like, what do I do?
Well, in the midst of all this stuff that's going on, you still had room and the empathy and the care for this kid who he can't afford lessons. Yeah. He still wants to do them, and you offered to do it at your house with the baby. Yeah, there.
We only did one or two lessons.
Yeah, drums going on with a under 1-year-old. Yeah.
So Bella and Skylar grew up with House of Music underneath them.
But accommodating the people who need music in their lives, that's why this place is still going, because we want to offer that to everybody, no matter who you are, where you come from.
Yeah.
It's
and that's
important.
why the first lesson free became a thing. And they fought me on that. I actually pitched it to another store. I said, could we offer an incentive? And they said, absolutely not. No one's going to teach for free. I said, yeah, they will, because now they're going to get clients forever. Yeah. You teach one lesson and you get that student to like you and kind of get on their level and respect you. They will keep coming back. So
no, I agree. And I think what drew me, more to this, and maybe we talk about our backgrounds a little bit too. Always had music in my life, played in bands, punk rock bands, ska, alternative.
Yeah, Penny and the Loafers, man.
Yeah, Penny and the Loafers, Skyrocket, the Insecurities. Yeah, the biggest one's probably Penny and the Loafers that we toured.
Was the Insecurities bigger or no? Was it?
No. Okay. We were pretty big in the indies. I mean, we played with Blues Traveler and some other cool shows. But
I saw some cool posts from. I went back and looked at some old. So what the heck?
Yeah, we had some cool shows, but so once you start having kids and get busy with career and all that. That's kind of away from. That's kind of away from music. That's
why we like these
stores open right now.
Yeah, we're literally this is our show.
So once kind of get away from that, you try and figure out how do you get back to that, and it's not good enough for me just to go see concerts and I have to participate. I have every time I saw people play music, it makes me want to play music 10 times more. or be connected to it, whether it's like through my kids, through like a business venture, through
Yeah.
like just like you were bringing like teaching kids music, those kind of things. We got to bring up like the next generation
Well,
too.
whenever I go to a concert, it's always funny. I feel like a secret agent. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm going in there and I'm like, I am him. Like I get it. Like
Yeah.
So what really drew me in, and being kind of in the music industry for a while too, like you guys, and you guys know this probably just as well, like there aren't a lot of great like people, right? And like there are a lot of shady people in the music industry, whether it's like in
Yeah.
bands and like promoters and venues, and like people are just trying to like screw you. And when like we met and talked,
Or
like,
they're there for the wrong reasons.
yeah, like you never tried to like, screw over like anyone. And in fact, like there's one story I want to tell where I didn't even realize my cousin went and got lessons from you. And she has MS and like wheelchair
Oh
bound
yeah,
Sophia.
yeah. That was
oh,
before
I
we
remember
met.
Sophia.
Before we
Yeah.
met, and like
Jablonski.
Jablon, and I used to
He
hear
was
from
famous at the store.
my aunt and stuff like, oh yeah, this, and like you guys had 3 sets of stairs, either up or down or whatever, and you
carry
would
her.
like carry her
Yeah.
to have
I
lessons.
got to
and
know her
stuff.
pretty good because
Yeah.
you were literally carrying her, but she was
Yeah.
such
You
a
built
sweetheart.
a ramp for her
Joe
to get
did.
into the
My
Yeah.
brother Joe. Joe's carpenter.
Yeah. So no, just like those kind of things though, and like that's not. And you're not projecting that. It's not like you're posting all
No,
over social media.
no,
Hey,
yeah,
look
that
what
was-
I'm doing. All
She
that.
came in. I was like, "What? We got to get her in here, man."
So
like,
that's
this girl,
all-
She was like exploding with musical,
Yeah.
just like energy, and she would do the shows at Sullivan's. She was carried up on the Sullivan stage, like, and literally rocked out and did like a rock and roll scream and threw a stick into the crowd. That
So-
was like kind of like the end of her House of Music
Yeah.
stay. After that, she went to school and got busy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but no, I thought that was really cool. Just those, and those are stories like you never hear, and like you don't even want people to hear necessarily. It's just how you are and what you do,
well, thank
and
you.
like that's just something I wanted to be like a part of. And I feel like that we can grow that. It's it's like bigger than a vibe. It's kind of like a movement, because all these
Yeah.
like you can get lessons at Guitar Center.
Yeah, now they do all that.
Right? They
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
You can get lessons, and I don't care about calling out competitors or whatever.
Yeah.
You can get lessons at wherever other
All
places.
places, yeah.
What School of Rock, right? We get mistaken. Oh, are you School of Rock? House
Yeah.
like House of Music? It kind of has the same
Yeah.
feel when you're saying
Which they
it.
do something
Same
cool,
number of
but-
syllables,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's a totally different program, and we're not about that. And if people inquire, they'll figure out what the differences are.
Yeah.
But that was something that you can build upon. You can't build upon disingenuous like efforts, and
Yeah.
and so I thought that was really cool, and constantly trying to better the students, putting the rock bands together, not forcing it. It's all pretty like organic, and the multitude of like ages. You have like
Yeah.
5-year-olds here that are like jamming.
Yeah,
with
we try
bands.
Yeah.
because like people, the biggest thing they come in, they go, "How old does my kid have to be?" I go, "It depends on the kid." So that's a hard question to answer.
You told me that for my second one, when
Yeah.
you're like, can they
Can
pay
they sit
attention
still?
and sit still
Yeah.
for 20 minutes? You
Yeah.
know, like
Can you sit in a room with them? Like we encourage, and that's one thing that turned me off about. I taught at like 4 or 5 other studios before, and like in home one where you go to their home called the Music Teachers Network. It was pretty cool. They got paid pretty well, and it was a fun experience. But the kids were in their own element. They weren't listening. They were like they're in their room. They're not going to listen to you. So everything in this place is designed to get them to listen to you and pay
Yeah.
attention, or at least want to play music.
Yeah.
Like they come in here, they're like, "What the?"
Well, what's cool now is like you walk in, you actually like see a stage, right? You see
Yeah.
like things happening. So it's not like, oh, we're
That
gonna
was
play a
Ramsey.
show
That was
and all-
Ramsey. He's like, I want them to experience. He kept saying that. I
Yeah.
remember our first meetings. He's like, what about the experience? I'm like, what do you mean? Like you go in a lesson room, you have a lesson, you play a show, but he, all in one place. Back to when we started this show, one place for everything. So the studio, the venue, the store, the lessons, all in one roof, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That's what we built here,
In a very efficient square
which
footage.
kind
I
of
might
was
add.
nuts. Yeah, it
Yeah.
changed a lot over time. So to get here, to answer that question, how do we get here? It took about almost 35 minutes, right, for that conversation or something. We could go longer.
Yeah.
So, but also, I mean, let's not forget, we open up, and we're getting our bearings and stuff, and then the pandemic hits
Yes.
too, right?
Yeah.
And we had to like totally transform
Go
the
to
way
Zoom.
we did stuff. We
Zoom
went,
lessons, yeah.
and not only was it hard it wasn't the kids on Zoom, but like the teachers too. So we
Everyone,
had
yeah.
30 teachers. I mean, it was pretty incredible because like we had a conversation. I remember this like this first week of the shutdown, and we're like, we don't know how long it's gonna last, whatever. And we're like, do we just cancel everything and wait it out and just bleed, or do we try and still teach kids music and like
How do we do it?
participate
Yeah,
and
what, should we
interact?
do it?
And we're like, man, it's gonna be really hard to do that. But like, think about all these kids that are at home now, like
They're
with
stuck.
What are they gonna do?
stuck, and like they're doing schoolwork, and then like they don't have that outlet. So you're like, yeah. And
Yeah.
not only did we end up getting 30 teachers on Zoom, like hundreds
The
of
first
students.
one was my dad, who's in
Yeah,
his 70s.
yeah,
So we had 21-year-olds complaining that like, oh, this won't work, and oh, my connection sucks. And my dad's like, I'll do it. My mom helped him, who's more tech savvy. Got him on. He's the first one that did a Zoom lesson. I go, guys, I got on a Zoom call with all the teachers. I was like, my 70-something-year-old dad did it. Like, what's up? So
and we had a recital too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
it was
crazy.
an online
Yeah.
open mic.
Online open mic
No.
thing. I'm like, I'm playing a song at
we
acoustic.
literally had a
It's-
recital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had an online open.
Was I on it?
I think so. Ramsey
Dude.
played. What was it?
Oh, when we shared
Yeah.
the
internet
feed.
song.
Yeah, we shared feeds.
We
I mean,
shared
we
the
had
feed.
students
Oh, yeah,
playing.
yeah,
It was like
yeah.
solo stuff, but yeah, I played my infamous "Dumped on the Internet" song I wrote in.
my lord.
Jesse
in high
Winston
school.
played.
I think I played a
something.
weird Nirvana cover. Yeah, it was really
and then
depressing.
I
I,
remember
think I
like
played a Chainsmoker song too.
Did you?
acoustic, yeah.
well because of that too. I remember Jesse was just sent me a bunch of cool memories on Snapchat from like it was me and like 5 other teachers just hanging out on Zoom, just talking and like
I would
jamming
love to see that again.
and
That'd be funny.
like messing around. Like
she just
Rob
did the
Young.
singer-songwriter show. It was so good to hear her sing again.
Oh yeah,
That was great.
yeah.
That was a good. It was a good turnout. It was a good,
Yeah.
8 or 9 really good songs were
That's
played.
awesome.
Different artists.
So talking about singer-songwriter open mic stuff, you know, one of my questions is, well, what's the end vision that you guys see for this place? And
world
I wanna,
domination.
I got my end vision. My end vision would be that there's multiple locations, franchising it out so we can go and reach other kids and other families. And then my ultimate idea of the holistic mall. Because like most malls are bad for you, right? Like all the God bless you. Overpriced stuff, bad food, kind of like a little bit ill of environment. So I want to like find an abandoned library or one of those facilities you can rent and just do all things that are good for you in the mall. So like dojo, health food, smoothie place, house of music, you know, yoga place, whatever.
Oh,
Only thing good for your mind and body can be allowed in the mall.
I like it.
Interesting.
Okay.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was my original idea, like, because we the Tinley Park Library was like
Yeah.
up for rent or
Yeah.
something. I was like, what? There's like a veranda. There's like this like underwater. That's my mind. Underground little thing. I was like, this is so cool. We can make it
SeaWorld.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Holistic mall.
Listen, I have.
That's my pitch for you.
holistic mall. Well, good thing I'm in the mall business. We can talk. You know, we wanted to get a prototype, so this is like the prototype, and we're perfecting it. And you know, we're 5 years in. We're a pandemic through all that stuff, and you know, we're learning, we're growing constantly. But I think it's like we're almost at that point where we can now start to authentically replicate it, you know, in other
Yes.
communities. And it's not just trying to, hey, let's jam stuff in and make money and do whatever. Like you have to make money to survive and keep going. But we're reinvesting all that stuff. So
Yeah.
so everything we make
It's
here,
in a
we
good
want to
growth.
invest in a second location and third, and you know, and we're constantly evolving. And you know, and now, as if we don't have enough under one roof, we're gonna add. Should we talk about what we're gonna add?
Should we say that or say that for the next show? I think we should close with
All
our
right,
song.
We'll save it for
Close
the
with
next
our next show. Cliffhanger.
All right. Well, we'll
Cliffhanger. All right. We might relieve it. We'll
see.
take them out with a song.
that's the show.
See you at the cafe. Do a hands in.
I just want to get my solo
Hands
porn
in.
channel up going.
Oh, come on. So you gotta ruin it. Gotta ruin it. See?
That was the cliffhanger, I thought.
Who can we have? We gotta have. Do a hands in.
I still want to get my solo
Hands
porn
in.
channel up going.
Oh, come on. So you gotta ruin it. Gotta ruin it. See?
That was the cliffhanger, I thought.
Who can we have? We gotta have